Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Ballin In Da Boot, our Louisiana High School Football show. I'm your host, Jace Lejeune, and we're getting everybody lined up. This show has been really big the last couple of weeks. We've had a lot of great coaches on, and that's what makes it really good. You don't really really know going in what coach is coming on. I mean, last week we had Wayne Stein from St. Charles Catholic. We had Coach Hudson Fuller a couple of weeks ago from Catholic High. You just coach from Hahnville as well. We've had a lot of great coaches coming on the show too. So it's going to be a really fun show. We got a lot of scores we got to recap as well. And I appreciate everybody that's tuning in. I know we just kind of started the stream. We're going to start things with a coach as well. Coming on. So we already got 4 or 5 people coming on. So before I bring on this first head coach to start off our week 4 edition, just want to say make sure to subscribe to our Facebook page. Make sure to follow us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Go to our website, gridironfootballusa.com. So before we bring on first coach, I got to have a co-host, right? I got to have somebody that's got to help me with running the show. Might as well have somebody with the LHSAA Network helping me out, keeping me on my toes, and that's Spencer Verret. Spencer, what's up, man? What's been going on at the LHSAA Network, man?
Oh, Jace, tell you what, we just got rolling with our show. Kind of had to come in and play a little bit of a lifesaver there at the end. I'm here at the beautiful LHSAA offices, rocking the St. James polo today.
Okay, yeah, St. James. You got the St. James rocking?
A little bit, yeah. It was homecoming night there, and that was my first stop on the night. And what a night of high school football, right? You know, you kind of take it in a little bit as you're watching the scores kind of roll in, and you're like, man, I don't know what happened. You know, it's hard to keep up with every game that was going on, but you just continually see surprising score after surprising score roll in.
Well, Spencer, we want to make this show fun. We can bring coaches on like Brock Matherne on just like that with a snap of a finger, right? So, Coach Matherne, we're going to start things off with you, Coach. What a win for y'all because, I mean, Denham Springs was playing some really good football during this game. So, Coach, tell me about the win. I believe it was 26-20, right, Coach, tonight?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome win, Coach. 3-1 to start the season. Tell me about how the Spartans were able to get things done tonight.
Oh man, it started with a great week of practice. Look, we don't look into the future. We try to learn from the past. We believe that in order for us to get the success that we desire, it has to be one day at a time. Waking up, getting out of bed, and asking. Each individual asking themselves, what can they bring to the table to help this program get better? From the coaching staff to the players. And we had a great week of practice. Went out there tonight and players win games. A big shout out to my coaching staff. They put together a great game plan in all 3 phases to give us an opportunity to win this game. And the players went out and executed. Proud of all groups' efforts.
Coach, I was actually at the game. You know,
yeah.
I get there at halftime. You guys are up 13-7. They come out, they hit y'all with a really long, or they get the stop, they get the interception, and then they come out, hit a really long pass. But I thought the way your guys responded, especially on offense, just drove down the field, gets a touchdown. Then on special teams, come up with a big play. I felt like that swing was so important. And then the way that you guys, for the last 9 minutes of that game, ate the clock up the whole way down the field, really impressive.
Yeah, that's the type of ball we want to play, right? We preach every single day that the scoreboard doesn't matter. Circumstances outside of what we can control doesn't matter. We want to win one moment at a time, right? Like, if we on kickoff, well, let's win kickoff. If it's first play of a drive on offense, let's win the first play. And man, look, there's nothing sweeter in the game of football than when you got the ball and you got a multi-score lead and you get an opportunity to run the clock out and you get it to. And look, we would love to have sat there and kneeled on it and ended it and not give them that late touchdown. But just proud of our offense for going out there and grinding out the time and taking away the opportunity for them to get 2 possessions to come back and win that game. Um, Again, coaching staff, players, a great job of them executing. I tell them all the time, we win the games. I'm very grateful for them. We lose the games. It's my fault. I did something wrong along the leadership standpoint. But look, I got a great coaching staff. We got a great young team. We got great administrative support, and this was a program win, a school win, and ultimately in our field house a team win that I felt we played well in all 3 phases of the game.
Yeah, coach, and I believe that's 3 straight wins for y'all. Y'all lost a tough one against a really good Catholic League team and Brother Martin, and it seems like the wins have coming up. I mean, y'all came up so close in that first game. What are some things that you really picked up from your team from the first loss of the season that really has really helped this team moving forward, as you can tell, winning 3 straight games?
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, the biggest thing was getting in the locker room after the loss to Brother Martin. There was a different look in this group's eyes. They cried like we lost the state championship. Um, Look, we've done things different. We talk about it all the time of changing the narrative of East Ascension football. In the sense of we believe we can be a contender in this division, and we believe that we have talent, we have size, we have a great coaching staff. We have the best fan base in the state of Louisiana. There's no better student section than our crew that we have. And look, for us, when I looked at that team at the end of that Brother Martin game, it was simple. It was one question to them. Do you like the way you feel right now? Because I seen everybody in tears and upset. And the answer was no. And I said, well, we got to work harder. We got to get better every day. We got to find a way to practice better. We got to find a way to give more effort. And look, these games aren't won on Friday nights. They won Monday through Thursday. And it's a kudos to our coaches, kudos to our players for showing up Monday through Thursday and doing the preparation that it takes for us to be successful on Friday night.
Yeah, Spencer, you have a question?
I'm just really impressed, Coach. That was impressive, man. Hearing you talk about the way that preparations and key, it fires me up. I'm ready to run through a brick wall. I don't want to run through any of these walls, though. I'll get in trouble.
Coach, I tell you what, going off what Spencer said, I'm not going to try even run. And speaking of brick walls, let's talk about Bryson Martinez, because he's a brick wall himself. So talk about him. I know y'all have actually put him out there a little bit at tight end, and talk about how that kind of experiment's going with him, because I know it's tough to kind of try to tackle him, much less try to get through him.
Yeah, look, I think the big thing with him is people's going to look at him as a tight end. We look at him as a 6 lineman. We want to be a physical football team. We believe that in order to get to the Superdome, you got to out physical people, and that's, you look at the teams that make it to the dome. They're able to run the football. They're physical programs, and look, they try to make you tap when the 4th quarter hits. And look, that's our motto: is we want to live in the deep end of the water. There's a lot of teams throughout the country, whether it's Louisiana high school football, whatever high school football. They just want to tiptoe into the water and compete. And look, we run to competition. That's what we've been preaching here, is that we want to get after people, and we're not running from anything, and we want to play a physical brand. So he adds an extra element in the run game, and it just helps a lot that he's so athletic. And like I said earlier in another interview, he don't catch 10 to 12 balls a game. That's not what he's there for. But when he does catch it, it's in big moments. He's been in the clutch for us all season long, and having that type of weapon when it comes is really good.
Yeah, for sure, Coach. For sure. Talk about your staff. I mean, that's basically my last question before we wrap up, Coach. And I appreciate your time, because I know we have another coach coming on. But just talk about your staff. I think there's been a lot of headlines going into the year about how the rock star, all-star cast are able to assemble with Coach Aconche and Coach Gaines, and kind of how basically y'all, with a team, you assemble a lot of stars. It takes a while to get everybody going, but it seems like it's the same thing with the coaching staff. Just talk about how the staff is really coming together.
Yeah, man. Look, a group of selfless human beings, right? A group of guys that it's not about them, it's not about me, it's about the kids, right? We're in this look, the wins and losses come a dime a dozen. Those things that you do it the right way, it's you give yourself an opportunity to win, but it's about changing young men's lives, teaching them the right way to do things. And look, we still got a long way to go, but this staff I have the most confidence in. Guys that's been there before, guys that's won a state championship, guys that's been in the semifinals, guys that know what it takes to win, and knowing that they're holding these guys accountable and making sure we're doing the right things the right way all the time. Um, look, I'm blessed. I'm blessed and humbled to have the coaching staff that I have. I say this all the time as the head coach. They make me look really good, but they do the majority of the work. Um, I, I tell them all the time. I say I don't know why y'all call on me. All I do is call timeouts. Um, but no, and we just mesh well together. I got a great relationship with all these guys. And I couldn't be more blessed and humbled to have the coaching staff that we have. And we all have the same beliefs, you know. We believe in the same way of winning football games. We believe in the same ways of coaching. We are hard-nosed coaches that look, we're gonna be on you throughout the week and we're gonna love you up when it's over with. But we all know what it takes to win, and to have this group of guys together, I couldn't be more humbled and more appreciative of these guys for taking this chance and helping me make East Ascension a top tier program like we want it to be.
Absolutely, Coach. You're definitely on the right track of doing it, Coach. Congratulations on the win. That was a big time win over Denham Springs, and you're doing an excellent job, Coach. Keep pounding at it, keep going at it, and I appreciate you. I know it's been a busy, long Friday. I totally understand, and I do appreciate your time. I'm sure me and Spencer really enjoy your time coming on.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all for all y'all do for covering high school athletics. I'm a big believer Louisiana has the best high school football in the country. So thank y'all for all y'all do in covering this great sport and covering these great young athletes.
Absolutely. Anytime, Coach. Coach Brock Matherne, victorious head football coach at East Ascension. They get a 26-20 win tonight against Denham Springs to get things going. Spencer, you kind of get an idea of how the show is going to be because we're still going at it. So we got another coach we're going to bring on. We got a couple of them actually waiting. So you never know what to really expect when we do the show every Friday night. And let's bring on Coach Shane Savoie for St. Thomas More, offensive coordinator, offensive guru from St. Thomas More. Coach, a little bit dramatic win tonight, back-to-back wins against powerhouse programs and against Neville. So, Coach, I mean, talk about what a victory it was for the Cougars to come back and get the victory over Neville and set yourselves right back to what y'all really started. Even record 2-2.
Yeah, well, one, good to see you guys. Jay, Spencer, thank y'all for doing this, and super excited about it. Congratulations to Coach Matherne on the big victory. I'm starting to see some scores coming in, so just kind of wrapping up everything over here and getting to see what's happening around the state. Man, we're pretty resilient. It's not pretty all the time, but the Cougars are going to find a way to scrap themselves back into some games, and our kids did that tonight. I mean, it's hard not to be emotional when you see the kids battle and just continue to believe in themselves and believe in what you're teaching them, and it finally start to pay off, and you're able to get a win. You know, I've been in games where we don't win them. We play the same way, but to be able to put the plays together that mattered to win the game, that was just awesome. And against a quality opponent, Neville's a really good football team, really great coaching staff. Just to be able to do that against a quality opponent, we're pretty happy here in Lafayette.
All right, Spencer, you have anything for Coach Savoie?
Coach, last week against Acadiana, you're down late. You guys put it back together, rally, and come out on top. But, obviously doing it in a one-game special. To do it then on the next week, down late, come back again and get the win and be able to ice the game with that interception at the end. What does it say about these guys and just how special they are?
I think that's, one of the qualities or characteristics or qualities of champions is resiliency. I think that's the first thing you kind of look for. And that's one thing that being a member of this program as a player as well, the tradition of St. Thomas More has always lended itself to resiliency, teaching our kids to battle against all odds, to battle in all situations until the final horn goes. And to see our kids do that and believe in that is is a joy as a coach because you know they're trusting you in those tough moments to actually get done what they need to get done. So, is one time a fluke? I don't know. Is two times who you are? I don't know. But I sure would like to put together some easy plays and not have to put ourselves in some of the situations we're putting ourselves in.
Coach, I mean, it always helps. I mean, you've been around a lot of great quarterbacks, I mean, over the years, and you got another one in Cole Bazeron. I mean, talk about the 4th down and 10 play.
Which
at
one?
the very end, the comeback, I mean, to win the go-ahead touchdown at the end.
Yeah. I want to say he had 4 4th down conversions in probably the last 2 or 3 drives that were just remarkable plays by a young man. So to have that kid on our sideline and behind the center for us is truly a blessing because it gives us a chance sometimes when I don't make the right play call. But the last 4th down that turned into a touchdown to be the game winner, we were trying to shake loose our top receiver in Christian Bro. We've been motioning and working him back to the out routes. Kind of thought if we did a little out and in, we could get him loose down the middle of the field and at least convert the 4th and 10. And we had an underneath route working with it with the other guy that kind of rubbed off of him. And both defenders went with Christian, likely so, because I mean he has been who he is for the last 2 weeks. And Cole saw it, made the right decision, delivered the ball to Carter Moe, who had 1 catch on the night for 30 yards and a touchdown to win the game on his birthday. I mean, you can't write the story any better than that. Right. But for us on the sideline, it's a kid who gets not as many opportunities as others, but utilizes the same technique and understands what we're trying to do. And when his name was called, he made an amazing play and a play for a lifetime that got the Cougars a win tonight.
Yeah, definitely a play to remember on your birthday. Like Spencer, I mean, I know you cover stories like that. I mean, that's gonna be another one. That's pretty cool, right?
That's up there. That's up there, Coach. I want to know though. From what you've seen with this team, you start off 0-2. I mean, it was 2 losses that it could have went either way.
Yep.
Was there a sort of a change that you saw in these guys, or was it just to continue to keep pounding it, and we'll get there eventually? We're on the right track.
I think there was more just a starting to trust the process and not the result. And we were 0-2, and really probably even now we're probably 6 plays away from being 4-0 and 6 plays away from being 0-4. It's just all of our games have been that tight. So, if you just let the scoreboard define who you are as a person and who you are as a player, in many cases that's not fair and it's not a correct assessment of what you're doing. So can we focus on ourselves? Can we focus on each play? Can we focus on each task, each step, and make that be what we spend our time with and our energy on? And if we do enough of those well, we think we're going to be in the end a result that we're going to like. And I think that's kind of what our kids have bought into. And the old cliche from Coach Saban, just trust the process. That's kind of been our thing for the last 3 weeks. Going into Catholic, that was kind of what we wanted to get to. We thought we played better against Catholic. We had a chance with the ball in our hands to go down and tie it at the end of that game. We come up short there. And then we come back against Acadiana, come back tonight. Our kids are starting to figure that part of the game out and figure out how to play each play at a time. Now, can we take the next step now that we realize, like, when we do that, we have success. So why not do that more often? That's kind of the question to our kids. But man, kudos to our defense tonight. Coach Tidwell and our defensive staff did a fabulous job. To be down 2 scores at half and us getting the ball, we should have been out of that game. And to be able to go at a halftime and say, okay, guys, we got a shot. We're doing some good things. We go down and score. This is a 1-score game, and we were able to do that. And defense just continued to play well throughout the night.
Yeah, and maybe my last question, Coach, because I know we got 2 more coaches kind of waiting. It's kind of crazy, Coach. You don't know who's really jumping on all at one time.
I love it. This is awesome.
It's really cool to get coach's perspective, especially after a game. But I want to ask, I know you alluded to it. I mean, you talked about being a couple plays short of being 4-0 a couple plays short of being 0-4, but 2 close losses to start the season, and now your teams are starting to win some of those close games. So what do you think you saw that transition from those close losses to now winning these 2 close games against Acadiana and Neville tonight?
I think, well, I mean, the biggest thing is it's all in the details. I guess the secret's in the details, and you see it on film. So on a Saturday morning when we bring the kids in, we're going to look at something as simple as a break step by a wide receiver, whereas 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago he wasn't getting as much separation as he is now. And that difference of maybe 6 inches to a foot more of separation now puts you in a position to make a play that 3 weeks ago you weren't able to make the play. The common fan just sees, oh, it's an incomplete pass, contested ball. But the coach, and I got a great one with the wide receivers and Lance Strother, the coach sees, hey, well, there's so much we can do to help ourselves out. And when kids start to see that and believe in that, then all of a sudden you start to have those plays kind of roll in your direction. And our kids are hopefully figuring that out. And we got to get better. We still got to get better. We're going to face the same style of play and same style of teams in district and heading into the playoffs. So you hope our kids just kind of double down on doing the right things.
Absolutely, Coach. I know Christian came up just short of being a Player of the Week this week, but he had an awesome performance against Acadiana. I know he's going to be in the running for a lot more. I know your quarterback hole is going to be in the running for a lot more. But great win, Coach. Congratulations on the victory. I know that was a big time win. Anytime you can win against Acadiana and Neville, I mean that says for itself. And I know y'all back right on the right track.
Yeah, that's some names. Those are some blue bloods in Louisiana high school football, and I'm just blessed to be on the field with those guys. To see Coach Collins, who coached, I went to McNeese. He was at McNeese when I was there, and I was a scout team quarterback, so I got to spend some time with Coach Collins because he was on the defensive side. Just neat to see him across the field, still doing what he does, and the passion and the fire he has for it.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, Coach, thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to catching you up throughout the season.
Awesome, guys. Thank
That's
y'all
a good
so
sign
much.
you're on the show. That means I'm on the Absolutely, Coach. Thank you so much.
Congratulations,
And
Coach.
enjoy the rest of your
Thank you, guys.
All right. Victorious offensive coordinator Shane Savoie at St. Thomas More. We're going to keep this rolling, Spencer, because we got 2 more coaches. I mean, we usually average about 4 coaches. We're about at 4 right now. And he's been waiting patiently. I know Coach Lewis, we're going to get to him after. He's been waiting patiently. But we got to go to Coach Eric LeBlanc at Erath High School. Coach, can you hear us?
I got you loud and clear.
Awesome, Coach.
Appreciate you guys having me on tonight.
Oh, yeah, for sure, Coach. Anytime. We definitely want to recognize y'all, the Bobcats, 4-0 to start the season. Y'all defeated the defending state champions, the Vermilion Catholic Screaming Eagles last year. Coach, I know last year y'all were kind of like the Cardiac Cats last year, but y'all winning some big scores, 34-19, 48-18, 35-16. You won by 10 tonight. So talk about this team and how they've really taken the next step, at least at the early part of the year.
Yeah, tonight wasn't pretty, but I think talked about resilience and adversity kind of hit us tonight in the second half of the game, and going against a well-coached team and kids that understand what it takes to win a state title, and I thought our guys battled, man, and they fought for each other, and rallied behind each other and the coaches and the play calls and executed at a high level. And, we love seeing what we saw in the second half from our guys. But, first part of the season, man, I think it's just a big belief that the guys have that, there's no better team in the state than us. And, they go to practice every day. They go to meetings every day with that mentality. And, they busted hard. And, we put them through a grinder. And, those guys are ready to work on Friday night. So it's definitely been a fun first 4 games of the season for us.
All right,
Coach,
Spencer?
I mean, I've got so much I could ask you. We'll start with.
Hit me with it.
I kind of looking through these highlights I got sent, and I'm seeing a big 4th down stand from your defense. It looks like at one point.
Yeah.
Talk about that defensive performance tonight to hold those guys to just.
I mean, the defense has been. I guess their number was really called tonight. We had some we had some downfalls, whether it was play calling or missed assignments on offense that we just, we at times we didn't execute where we wanted to. And that's a props to VC and the way they're coached up and those kids and how hard they play. But I thought our defense was rock solid. So most of the night, if not all night. They had a big goal line stop in the first half. In the first half that they missed the field goal on from the 5, and then a big 4th down stop with about 7 minutes left in the game tonight on 4th and goal from the 1 on a quarterback run, and our guys routed to the football and made a big play, and then we were able to get out of the end zone a little bit, and at that point we were up by 3, and then continued to move the ball down and eventually scored another one, and we were able to hold them from there. So, defense has done a hell of a job, and they really did their job tonight.
Your quarterback has received a lot of talk in the media. You get to see him on a daily basis, though. What you've seen from this kid, Mr. Landry, and how you've seen him grow.
Man, Jack's a great kid. He was one of our unanimous team captains. Kids voted him as the team leader. Basically, we call him our Iron Cat, and the guy's a perfectionist, and he wants, and whenever he messes up something in practice, he wants to get some more reps of it after practice. He comes sit down in my office every day, 30 minutes to an hour before the team meetings to make sure that he's doing things right in practice and executing, and he's that special type of kid that I think all the kids can rally around, along with some of those other seniors that are captains also with those guys. And I couldn't ask for better leadership on the offensive side. I want to make sure I mention that goes for that entire senior class. And I think we are where we are 4 weeks into the season because of those guys. And they bring in those young guys up. We have at least two sophomores on each side of the football that are starting, and they wouldn't be where they are if it weren't for that senior class pulling them along and getting them in the right direction. So, where we are now is a credit to those guys.
Yeah, I mean, basically Spencer mentioned it about Jack Landry, and he doesn't really get enough credit. I mean, in terms of like all these great quarterbacks that are in the state, but he's definitely one of the top ones in the state this year. But Coach, I want to ask you about, really, this is a big win for the team, because knowing that y'all didn't have many losses last year, but one of the losses y'all did had was against Vermilion Catholic. So how much was maybe revenge, or was that even praise and a little bit of motivation, going into this one?
There was definitely not a lack of motivation going into this game. I'll just say that out loud. But that goes for VC also. I mean, we're VC and Erath are 10 minutes apart. Big rivalry. I think this was the 64th or 65th time our schools have played each other in the history of our football programs. So, I mean, it was the talk of the town all week. Honestly, it was probably the talk of the town before we even walked off the field last Friday at Eunice. And, so there was definitely excitement in the air. And I think the theme of the week for us all week was, keeping the emotions in check and make sure that we were, playing just like we played the first 3 games. And the opponent was just another opponent on the schedule and not necessarily an emotional opponent. And, we struggled with that at times. Things got a little chippy, or we made some mistakes, and but man, we fought and played for the blue and white, and the Bobcats were victorious at the end of it. So it was a good night.
Yeah, definitely, Coach. My last question is for your group, and I appreciate your time, Coach. I know after Friday night, I know there's 1,000 things, including sleeping, that you could be doing right now. But
it's hard to sleep after a Friday night game.
You're true. That's true.
So many ups and downs and emotions and adrenaline. So it's all good, man. I'm here for the questions and the answers, just to be a proud coach that gets to talk to you guys about football on a Friday night.
That's a good thing. If you're on the show, that means you're coming off a big win. So that's always a good thing, Coach. So my last question would basically be, what is something from your team? Like you said, a veteran team, a lot of seniors on this football team, a team that won a lot last year. What is something from your team this year that has probably surprised you, even after going through fall camp, through the off season, and as we go through the beginning of the season? What has been the most surprising aspect about this team through 4 weeks?
I honestly, and I talked about them earlier. So we had a few spots on our team going into the season that we kind of wondering, who's going to fill these roles. And I talked about those sophomores that we have starting on both sides of the ball, and that's probably been the most surprising part for us is how well those sophomores. One of them's at center, one of them's at receiver for us. We have two of them on the D line that play for us right now, and those guys have stepped into a huge role where they got guys with 3 years of starting experience that are playing behind them and expecting them to operate at a high level just like they are, and those guys are busting it every day. And then just to throw it on top, because I think it's something that I saw tonight that I was so proud of, man, and it was just a belief. And it's not just a belief from those seniors. Like the seniors are going to go out there and they're going to believe in everything that they do and do it 100%. But it was that the entire roster of 90 kids that we have on the sidelines just believing that didn't matter what the situation was, whether we were down or we were battling and they had a big play on us, but the belief in each other and the blue and white that we were going to come out victorious at the end of the night. And it did. It's a tribute to the kids for believing and trusting in the process and continuing to grind through it all. So it's been fun.
Absolutely. 4-0 sounds really good, Coach. So you can always take that to me.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Absolutely, Coach. Thanks so much for coming on, Coach. We really appreciate it. Spend a couple minutes with us. And, the Bobcats are rolling right now. I mean, 4-0. We can enjoy the win. I know there's a 24-hour rule. Moving on to the next one. So I totally get that. Go enjoy the win and go enjoy the rest of the night. I appreciate your time, Coach.
Well, Jason Spencer, I appreciate you guys having me on, and I appreciate you supporting football in Louisiana, man.
Thank you, Coach. Congratulations.
Absolutely, Coach.
Y'all have a good night.
Yep. Good night, Coach. Eric LeBlanc, coach at Erath, 4-0 to start the season. A big-time win there for the Bobcats, Spencer. They're really rolling right now to start the season. And before we can finally take a breath and talk about some other scores, we also got another undefeated coach that we're going to bring on. And also, Spencer, it's a good year because, anytime you can be the head coach in the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game and be undefeated, I think that's what we're going to have to do. But head coach Tyler Lewis from Terrebonne High School. Coach, we definitely have to pick the over tonight. A lot of points being on the scoreboard between Terrebonne and Hahnville. But, man, I mean, y'all are rolling right now. 4-0. It seems like, Coach, every single year with your leadership, this team is just getting better and better. And right now, I mean, we talked with Coach Boyne last week after a big win from Hahnville last week. So huge district win. And Coach, I mean, talk about how big of a win it was to get a win over a really good Hahnville team.
Oh, no doubt. They're a great program, man. Coach is doing a great job with that program, man. They have some playmakers and they're big up front. But this is a huge win for us because you're 1-0 in district. It really set the pace of what to look forward to in the upcoming weeks. The kids executed like they should. Defensively, we know that it would have been tough to stop them completely because of how talented they are, but we didn't break. So I'm just excited for all these kids and the whole community of Homer.
Coach,
Spencer,
there's a lot you could say about this Terrebonne team so far. It's been really impressive to see the way you guys have gone from week to week. But I want to hear about your running back. I mean, he's putting up the big numbers every week, man. Talk to me about what makes Quincy so special.
Man, he's being patient with the process, man. Quincy works hard. He's last year he was a teammate of the year inside of the locker room. He's a big locker room kid, big heart, but he's working hard, man. Like I said last week, we're gonna ride the Bear Shore until we can't ride the Bear Shore no more. The kid went for about 297 again tonight, man, and a few touchdowns. So it's just a testament of we have a great line, but the contact, the yards after contact is amazing, and you don't really see it in running backs in a high school level. But he's really doing a great job for us.
Coach, we talk about the running game, you talk about Quincy, you talk about Alvin as well, but really the offensive line. I mean, I don't know, there's a lot of offensive lines as good as what y'all got. Talk about those guys, and there's some Division I commitments on that offensive line, and it's really good. I mean, the games are won in the trenches, so talk about those guys up front and how good y'all really been
No doubt, man. Them guys take pride in what they do. They're having fun. They have a pancake competition. Sometimes I have to get on them a little bit about worrying about a pancake and not getting to their assignment. But they're having fun, man. They love their running back. They're gonna protect their quarterback, who had a great game, Owen Oliver tonight.
Yeah.
Um, we just have to keep leaning on our offensive linemen, and they just have to continue doing what they're doing for us, man. But ultimately, man, like I said, they're doing their job, and everybody else is doing their job. So when we have all our pieces moving in the right directions, you're going to get the results we got tonight.
Yeah, Spencer, you have anything for Coach?
What, Coach, a lot of people, I felt like last week, the winner of these guys right here, St. James, it was a battle
I see
back and
that.
forth. It just so happened I had the St. James polo on tonight. How huge was getting that win to kind of help set up and help push the momentum now to get another big win over Hahnville, and you got some more big ones on the schedule left, right?
Look, it's never an easy task defending St. James or even getting a win over them, man. With a 3A program, Coach Davis doing a great job. Like I said, I was a former assistant coach there under Coach Valdez. And I played against those guys and coached against them guys when I was at West St. John. So I know what they're all about. They don't matter who they facing and what the test, they're going to come with it. And you got to be ready when you're going to face a St. James. We executed offensively like we should. We kept them in front on the defense, because they're very explosive. Jakai's is a very explosive kid. But people call it a statement win, which is a statement win for us. We'll take the statement win. But tonight was huge. We started 1-0 in district, and it shows that our kids can compete with guys that's equal with us and have the same amount of talent with us. It just boils down to them executing and believing in the process and believing in the coaching and the game plan.
Coach, y'all have won it, like you mentioned, different ways, right? I mean, y'all scored 52. You had to win the shootout tonight against Hahnville. And you talked about, St. James game. You only held St. James to 8 points. You only held Riverside Academy to 13 points. So how encouraged are you knowing that, hey, we can win games with shootouts, and we can, if we have to win it ugly, we can win a game ugly as well.
Yep. Well, we were battle tested last year with these kids. We faced a lot with these kids, so they understand moments. They done been there. They done seen it already. That's something we didn't have last year. And I'm proud of them. Man. We were able to be balanced. Owen threw for about 276 and 2 touchdowns tonight. Bear ran for 2 touchdowns and 297 on the ground. I believe we had 400 total offense in the first half. The offense is what we put our stamp on, but I gotta tip my hat to the defense, because we had some crucial 4th down stops in that game that really, really helped us. Like I say, man, we're gonna clean up. We didn't have a perfect game, trust me. We got some things we need to clean up. We're gonna let them enjoy this 24 hours, but we got to get on the road to Destrehan next week, and that's not going to be an easy task. One, because we're on the road, but 2, Destrehan is also a talented program, and we got to have answers of stopping them and actually putting points on the board as well. So we got our hands full, and our schedule not getting light. It's not getting light, guys. It's going to get tougher and tougher and tougher. But our guys also know the only thing I'm asking is 1% better than what they were the day before, and 1-0 each week, and we moving on. That's it.
Absolutely, Coach. Coming up for y'all, you mentioned Destrehan. We had Coach Stein on last week on the show from St. Charles Catholic. They defeated Denham, and I was there seeing that Denham team last night. Denham is really good. So I was a big for St. Charles Catholic. And you mentioned, the district's so tough. Coach Narcissus is doing a great job at Thibodaux right now as well. So it's a tough schedule the rest of the way, but the strides are made every single year. Coach, district champs last year, and host playoff game and all that. But it seems like this team's getting better and better. What do you think is the potential for this team, and how truly good this team could be if everybody believes?
This team goal is New Orleans. They want to put the first state title in the history of the school, and that's the aim. And we're not gonna veer away from that. Like I told them after the game, we got things we need to clean and work on. I told them before the season started, I'd have been a part of state championship teams. I'd have won state titles at West St. John as a player and a coach. I'd have been a part of St. James, and we have pieces to get the job done. We just got to make sure that our pieces stay together, stay healthy, stay humble, stay hungry, and that our coaches are working, man. And everything else is gonna handle itself. So we talking New Orleans, man, but we got to take it one week at a time because we have a gauntlet coming up, and it don't get no easier once we get back on the bayou because everybody's aiming for Terrebonne. And and then one of the things that we're challenging ourselves is we haven't got that first playoff win yet. So, and we got a lot we're playing for, a lot on our chips on the shoulders of everybody in this program. But we're grateful of the support we're getting, and we're going to continue grinding for sure.
Absolutely. Spencer, you have anything to wrap up with Coach before we let him on his way?
Coach, I think you put that perfectly. Congratulations to you on another win, and congratulations to your team. Keep on rolling. It's fun to watch. Sometimes I get to sit back and kind of be like a fan of not necessarily a fan of teams, but you kind of see good programs and people doing the right stuff, and you're doing the right stuff down there at Terrebonne. So congratulations to you guys.
I definitely appreciate it, Spencer. I'm gonna go ahead and get you a Terrebonne battle shirt, okay?
Yeah, next time. I get the Tiger shirt. Coach, I can't let you leave without this. I mean, you're going to be obviously one of the coaches in our Gridiron Football American Bowl game at the end of the year. So I'm going to make sure we hook you up right. That way you get the loaded squad, and that way y'all get the champion bowl game this year, all right?
No doubt, man. No doubt. I'm definitely blessed and appreciate that opportunity from you guys and Andy, man, who's a great friend of mine. And I can't wait till December to have fun.
Yep. After y'all hoist the state championship trophy in the Superdome, and then we'll
yes,
get
sir.
in Pineville. So, Coach, congratulations on the victory. Go enjoy it. I know it's a 24-hour rule. It doesn't get any easier. You be Hahnville, you gotta go. That's right next week. So that just comes to show you how tough it is. But, Coach, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you, Coach.
Terrebonne head
All
football
right,
coach.
have a great night.
Absolutely. You two do the same, Coach. Terrebonne head coach Tyler Lewis with a big win, 52 to 48. 52 to 38. That is correct. And before we can take another breath, Spencer, we have one of our interns. We're going to give a report from the game that he was at tonight. So I'm going to bring Roman Clark on. Roman, can you hear me? What's going on, man?
Hello. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. So we're going to talk about the game that you were at tonight. So it was Hamilton Christian and St. John. Game was played at Blackman. And I told you there was a pretty good quarterback over that other team at Hamilton Christian, Javon Vital. So tell me about the human highlight reel that is Javon Vital tonight.
I mean, he was everything you said in a bag of chips. It was a performance tonight for sure. He was doing everything for Hamilton Christian, throwing the ball, running the ball. He even returned a punt, I believe, for a touchdown. So just really doing it all.
That sounds like Javon. You get to see that kid. I feel like he really stamped his name out there last year on the gridiron. But even not just that kid makes an impact on that basketball team too. So that kid's that life and that soul of that team. And talk to me though about some of those other guys you see out there on for the Warriors, because that's one thing that Coach really harped on was, look, he's good, and because he's so good, some of these other kids are going to get looked at just because of how good that kid is, and he's going to bring in all the scouts, and you'll see some other kids as well, right?
For sure. Of course, he had the performance, but you had Christopher Rideau that had 121 receiving yards. He just really, anytime they needed something from somebody else, he was always there for them. So I think he definitely showed out for sure. But yeah, also Jaden Jasmine on the defense, really making impacts on on the St. John offense. I mean, the defense for Hamilton Christian was also just fantastic. They only allowed 36 passing yards, but it was really the offense that showed out.
Yeah, and you talked about the offense. Everybody talks about Devon Vidal. You talk about Rito. He's a great player as well at the wide receiver position. And Spencer talked about their basketball pedigree and how great they are on the court. Dexter Washington's coaching both, football, basketball. He drives the bus. He does everything over there at Hamilton Christian. But yeah, talk about the defense. I mean, St. John's offense has been really good this year. Is the reason they were undefeated heading into the year. Talk about how impressive the defense was, because I believe the final score was like 48-13. Is that right?
48-13, yes.
48-13. So talk about the defense from Hamilton Christian and how they're able to slow down, which has been a pretty good St. John offense heading into that game.
Well, of course, as I said, that St. John couldn't get the passing game going at all. Of course, the D-line also showed out. St. John went scoreless throughout the second quarter, and I believe the second quarter and the fourth quarter, only scoring in the first and third. It was really just a defensive display for sure.
Yeah. What impressed you most just about this team? Was it Javon? Was it the playmakers, the defense? What when you left the game tonight, what impressed you most about the win?
I mean, it's hard not to say Javon. I mean, he had 371 rushing yards alone.
Ooh.
It was insane. Anytime they needed a big play, he was there. I was seeing him run the ball so much, I thought they were running out of the Wildcat, but it was just Javon.
Man, 371 yards. We got to get that full stat line, Roman, so we can nominate him for a Gridiron Football Player of the Week this week. So we got to get that full stat line.
6 touchdowns as well.
Crazy. 6 touchdowns tonight?
5 rushing touchdowns, 1 punt return.
Kid's
And
insane.
he's the quarterback.
Human highlight reel.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
Crazy.
It's insane. So yeah, I mean, it's good that you got to see him. I mean, LSU's offered him. He's got a lot of really great interest as well. But yeah, I mean, 1A school. So great win over St. John team. Like I said, I know you'll have an article posted about the game at GridironFootballUSA.com, right, Roman?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So go check it out. GridironFootballUSA.com. Roman, continue your good work, man. Your game reports, we appreciate some of the videos that you're posting on Twitter. So go check that out. Roman, appreciate your time, man. And thank you for giving us a little report.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. Always.
Thanks, Roman. Congratulations on an internship with Gridiron Football.
Thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, Roman. I'll see you next week. Roman Clark was at the game tonight, Hamilton Christian, St. John. All right, Spencer.
Some breathing room?
We can take a breath. So
I said some breathing room. Finally, we had guest after guest after guest.
Yeah, some breathing room.
I will say, I probably got about 12 minutes before I got to hop off. The LHSAA is going to kick me out at some point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can kind of go through and talk.
We appreciate the time.
It was a wild night. I don't know even where to start with the games that haven't been covered. I think it's great that we got to hear from some of those coaches right afterwards. Robert Valdez is probably like a short walk down there doing the show with Steve Schneider with highlights. If people want to rewatch that show, we aired on YouTube.
Okay.
As soon as it's done, it's called Friday Night in the Boot. It airs on the LHSAA Sports YouTube channel. And I'm sure that Robert Valdez has had a lot of great one-liners, because I knew when they were in there practicing, they put up the Curtis highlights, and he said that old Curtis dive. And sure enough, that seemed to be the thing that helped Curtis win tonight, that dive. And they got the ball with 12 minutes left in the game. They were only up by 3 or 2. They burned the whole quarter out. They burned the whole quarter, the whole fourth quarter, just with that running attack. And, East Ascension almost did the same thing. They got the ball with 9 minutes left. And if it wasn't for a holding penalty, they probably would have burned out the whole rest of the clock. But what a huge night. Jace, out of everything that happened tonight, because I came into this week thinking, man, there's a lot of games that, honestly, I was looking at, I was like, there could be some blowouts this week. We could be talking a lot about some blowouts. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of really, really close games that I think can help cover up some of the blowouts too.
Yeah, absolutely. Time, Spencer. So we're going to make this basically this 10-minute Spencer Verret show right here. So I know you made your rounds as well. I believe you went to go see Bunky play right on Thursday night.
Yeah, I did. I went down to Morgan City last night. Brought home some souvenirs of some ant bites. That field in Morgan City. It's got a lovely track, the Vernon Norwood track, but the field was certainly covered in ant piles, and my right ankle paid the price. But Bunky was as I thought they were. Me and Coach Hillman have obviously talked a lot coming into this year, and what we kind of expected, or I think a lot of people expected Bunky to take a step back. Losing Compton, losing Johnson. But they've got the guys to still be a really, really good football team, and they showed that against Central Catholic. Central Catholic, it seems they've got pieces, but Bunky was just too much on the night per se for them. They controlled the clock really well, and I think that's something that the score might not show. I think it was 38 or 30-6 was the final, 33-6, something like that. Bunky was up 20-0 at halftime, and they were in complete control of the game the whole time. Tonight, started the night at St. James Homecoming. I've never seen. I will let people sound off about their homecomings all they want. St. James Homecoming might be up there as one of the best in the state. There were people out there there was about 20, 30 tents at a minimum from what I could see from the top of the press box. And they looked as good as they could be. Last week, obviously, we heard from the Terrebonne coach, they didn't play as well as they probably thought they could have.
Right.
I know that you feel that in a loss, but tonight they left no doubt that they were they put up 50-something points. I was only there for the first quarter.
Okay.
So working in the TV business, you got to get 2 games. I got to get highlights from 2 games. So I stayed for the first quarter, and as soon as they put up that 20-ish mark, we said, all right, cool. Time to go to East Ascension, Denham Springs, and that was my second game. We already kind of heard from Brock about everything.
Right, you get. Yep. You got Brock there to hear from him. And did Juwan play tonight?
Yeah, he did. Jawan Jackson did play. He was in. He had some beautiful throwing balls. I think he's probably the most talented kid in that 2028 class at quarterback.
Yeah.
It's crazy how blessed we are with Louisiana. I tell people this all the time. Texas, California, and Florida might get the spotlight, but little old Louisiana, with what we do down here and the players that we have, is second to none. You saw it. With Edna Carr taking down American Heritage. You saw it with the fact that Ruston's run through 2 Texas teams so far, and they're going to continue to run through another Texas team next week, I hope, for Jared Ball and his squad. It's just so special to see what goes on here in Louisiana, and you get to see that these kids who, people think of us all the time, like, oh man, that's just Louisiana down there. These kids aren't as good as they are, but I know how good the kids are here, and I can tell you right now, we have some of the best players in the boot, not just in football.
Oh yeah.
In basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, we've got some amazing players.
Yeah, and you cover it all. You cover cross country, track and field, volleyball. You cover everything. So you're as good as anybody to say that, because you go and see everybody play from multiple different sports. So it comes from a good source there as well. Any thoughts? I know we're about to do the scoreboard after you leave, but your thoughts on West Monroe getting a big win tonight over Catholic, and West Monroe lost last week against North DeSoto. A big win there for Coach Dunn and the Griffins. But Catholic talked to Coach Fuller. The last actually came on the last show. I mean, Coach Fuller came on and talked about the Bears and a big win over U High. But yeah, I mean, maybe the Bears just a little bit of a little piece of humbling pie tonight, and a huge win for West Monroe and Coach Dicer. Trying to take ownership of being the head coach of the Rebels.
I think that's whenever I mention how wild of a night across the state it was, some people might think, oh, he's talking about Catholic New Iberia and Notre Dame, and Notre Dame coming back from 28-0 down. No, the big one is definitely West Monroe upsetting Catholic. I kind of heard Aaron Dietrich and Jake Martin up there kind of talking before the game, and the belief is there in West Monroe, and that's something that I've only been covering football here for about 2 years.
Yeah.
The belief every time I've covered West Monroe has always just kind of been, we're rebuilding, we're working our way back to being great. And I've never heard, when I went up there to cover them for Bayou Jam, those kids and those seniors, I mean, Christian Pawnee, Tyson George, those guys were showing a conviction that, hey, we're here to fix West Monroe, and it might be our senior year, but we're looking to make this a year to remember. And I think tonight is a night that they will forever remember. I'm hoping to get Coach Dizer on for the high school spotlight, seeing the win tonight. I'm going to try to get him on for Wednesday night, kind of talk about the win a little bit more when he's had time to think about it. But, I mean, that's so huge. You think about, like, how good that district is. And I know Neville lost tonight, but that's still a really good football team. Ash is really good. Ruston's really good. Neville's really good. Ouachita Parish is undefeated, and they've got Franklin Parish next week. And now you're looking at West Monroe just took down the state's number 2 team. The consensus pretty much number 2 team based on the polls. You got to start thinking about how good that district is going to be, and we're about to get into some fun district matchups.
We got a comment here on the stream, Spencer. Jason Haygood Jr. says Franklin Parish and Ouachita next week. So, I mean, that's going to be a great game as well. Franklin Parish, came up short last week against Calvary Baptist. It's kind of like a revenge game right there for Calvary Baptist from last year. But Ouachita's looked really good. This season been going to a crazy start, that's for sure. Since we got a couple more minutes, about 3 more minutes left before we have to go, I know you promoted the LHSAA Network, ball, of course, Friday Nights in the Boot. There's a talk about that. Steve obviously does an awesome job with the network and everything that he does for high school football and general high school athletics. So, just promote the show. And, you talk about, it's right now and everything. And I know that's being streamed Friday nights as well. It's about the same time we do this. So promote that and promote the LHSAA Network.
Yeah, man. We continue to do great things at the LHSAA Network. I still think we're the greatest thing since sliced bread. This Friday night show, last year we started it. It was me and Garrett Walvard for the first 5-6 weeks while Steve was fighting. Well, I wouldn't say fighting, but he basically had a non-compete clause. And as soon as that non-compete clause ended, it was me and Steve. And outside of 1 week where I got really sick because I was out in the rain covering Denham Episcopal, and I'll never forgive that rain for that night because that was a blessed night. But you get to see highlights from teams across the state. We try every week. We have a Monday meeting. We sit down. We say, all right, what are the games we got to get? And we try to get on, as many teams as we can. Trust me. I know that there's teams that they haven't received coverage in forever. And it's my goal to eventually go and cover those teams that haven't had a TV station camera there for forever. Now I'm getting stuck a lot at the big games, which I'm not complaining about, but that's something that I'll never be able to get over, is just how fun it is to go to those small schools and just have a really great time. Coach Valdez just walked by up there. He's got a big one tomorrow. Well, you talk about cross country and stuff. And it's funny, in the LHSAA Network, there's obviously a lot of emphasis on football. We do our Thursday night game of the weeks, which can be streamed on YouTube. But the show doesn't end for me for this week yet. I'm going from here home to try to get some rest and get a little bit more work done. And then got cross country at 7
Yeah.
a.m. tomorrow. Gonna cover that
Bright and
meet.
early.
Bright and early, yeah. And then I got Edna Carr Holy Cross at 2 p.m. And then obviously Valdez and St. Augustine playing Warren Easton tomorrow night, all at Tad Gormley from what I can tell. So, Friday nights are definitely the highlight of my night. But tomorrow, Saturday, that's
Yeah.
going to be a day for sure. And just I'm blessed to do what I do and be able to get with guys like you, Jarrett Roser from Louisiana versus all y'all. Like, man, the fact that I think that we just do such a great job of covering the state. So anytime I'm free, and I had to kind of come put out a fire tonight with the show, which is why I'm here at the
Yeah.
LHSAA offices. But
Yeah.
it's a great show. It re-airs. It's pretty much on YouTube for anyone who wants to go see their highlights. If you're in that rundown, it's great. And I try to give everyone a preview on Twitter and Instagram
Yeah.
of the games I'm watching, the fastest 2 minutes, which I'm trying to get more games in there. Like, I'm trying to figure out a way that I can like memorize about 10 games and my thoughts on them. Today was just what stood out to me, and it's always going to be what stood out to me. But really thankful for you for giving me this opportunity to come on here and talk some ball.
Hey, any week, man, spend a couple minutes with me, to talk about what's going on around the LHSAA and around the high school football. I appreciate your time, Spencer. Right, is this next week going to be the game of the week going to be Franklinton and Jules Sumner next Thursday?
It will be. It will be. That was the game that last year I think put
Oh,
Franklinton on the map.
yeah.
It was a classic last year. You and I were both there, and
Yeah.
that's our next game of the week on Thursday. Yeah, Franklinton's really good this year. Jules Sumner's right now. They're almost at the top of my 3A polls, and
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see what happens. I think every week you look at the slate and you're like, oh man, it's like Thursday or Wednesday night turns into Christmas Eve. Thursday might turn into Christmas Day, and then magically there's another Christmas Day, and you just get excited every week about the matchups around the state. Obviously I'm excited for Franklin Parish, Ouachita Parish. I'm gonna put my hat in to try to get up there and see those two teams, and I'm just excited to see what the state continues to do. Because I mean that's just it's great to see programs, and it's great to see not just that, but it's you see community support at these games, and I don't think people in the community might understand how much their impact is on these kids, but when these kids run out and they see a full stand, it does something for your brain. And it says, hey man, I gotta show out for my community tonight. So I'm hoping to just see more packed stands. That's my message to everyone out there. Um, Even if you've not been to a high school football game in forever, find out what your local high school team or find out what your alma mater's been doing, and just go out there and support them. Because even like
Sure.
taking the $15 is I think the highest ticket price I've seen, which is like that's going off the deep end. Obviously,
Right.
that might not be the highest, but
Yeah.
just take that time and go see what your local high school is doing, because it really is something that you need to go support.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, Spencer. And we're going to try so we do this next week together, just for a couple minutes and talk to some coaches and talk about what LHSAA Network's doing. But you're doing an awesome job, man. Keep up the great work, and appreciate your time. I'm going to make sure you don't get locked in the LHSAA office. So I'm going to make sure that you're able to get out there on time, Spencer. So thank you so much, man. I appreciate you joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me on, Jace. Keep doing great things with Gridiron football, man.
Absolutely. Spencer Verret, Mr. LHSAA Network himself. Appreciate his time with me tonight. We're going to try to get Spencer on every single week, talk about some of the scores and some of his takeaways, because it's always great. Spencer does a lot for the LHSAA Network, and he covers a whole lot of stuff. So guys, people that are still tuning in, I really appreciate y'all tuning in. I know we had some comments. James Lucas commented earlier about the story we talked about with Coach Savoie about the player that scored the game-winning touchdown on fourth down. He was actually his birthday today, so that was a great story. Jason Haygood, he's looking forward to Franklin Parish, Ouachita, and rightfully so. That's going to be a great game. But we have to give out over the next hour. We're going to try to be here today. So this is basically the time for y'all. So if y'all have any scores, any comments, if you want to ask a question about your team, whatever. Everything is pretty much loose here for the next hour, but we're going to go over scores after we had our conversations with our coaches already. It's time to talk about some scores around the state of Louisiana. So let's see if I can get this going. But, I was at 2 games this week. I will talk about those 2 games. And when I thought about those 2 games, I had to call Episcopal tonight. They lost 22-20 against East Louisiana. That was a great football game. I'll go over that a little bit. And then last night, I was at Denham, and of course Ascension Catholic, and it was a big time win for the Denham Tigers. So we're going to go over the scores around the state of Louisiana. Like I mentioned, if comment if there's a game that y'all want to score from, or a game that you want your chance, so feel free to go through it. But I'm going through all the scores around the state of Louisiana this week. In week 4, it's kind of crazy that we're going to the halfway point. Got a big win tonight over Booker T. Washington, 50-0, as the Owls get a big win tonight. Hahnville, same thing. Hahnville was able to shut out Plain Dealing by a final score of Live Oak. They get a 38-31 win over the Walker Wildcats. Live Oak Eagles have a lot of really good offensive players. Caden Jones was our Gridiron Football Player of the Week finalist for Walker last week. His receiver as well was able to get a couple of touchdowns last week. How about Iowa? They're still rolling, man. I believe they're undefeated as well. Start the season, they get a 35-20 win over the Wasson Wildcats in week 4. Acadiana Christian, they do lose tonight to Everdale in Texas, 43-6. Acadiana Renaissance defeats Morris Jeff, 52-0. St. Paul's, a big win there for the Wolves. They get a 28-21 win over John. JFK has been Coach LP. He's doing a great job with the program. 28-21. All right, since we're at this game, this was the game I was at tonight. East Louisiana gets a 22-20 win over the Episcopal Knights. So you don't really see this much often with the Episcopal Knights starting off the season 1-3, but you don't really see this from 26 years leading this program. It's very unique and rare territory. But this was a wild game. Episcopal, they took the lead with probably about 2 minutes left. They were trailing the drive, and the quarterback sneaked to give them the lead 20-14. But East Wilson, he's actually one of the players we invited at our Gridiron Football Media Day to play in the Gridiron Football American Bowl game. They gave him the football, and he did his best Earl Campbell impersonation. He trucked about 6 guys. He missed 6 tackles, got in the end zone to tie the football game at 20. The quarterback, Marcus, to make it 22-20, and that was basically the difference in that football game. Episcopal loses to East Louisiana. East Louisiana, great start to the season. To go 3-1 to start the year. It's a really good sign, for this team to win against teams like Episcopal, to win teams against Kentwood to start the season. So great way to start the season for Coach Darius Matthews and East Louisiana. And win. They got a lot of great talent. Ryan Moore is a talent to keep an eye out for the 2027 class. Very electrifying playmaker. So keep an eye on him. But Episcopal, it doesn't get any easier. They got Ascension Catholic next week. Next Friday, both teams are trying to bounce back. Episcopal look to try to get to 2-3 next week. Varno gets a 26-0 win over Thrive Academy. So big win there for the Wildcats. St. Episcopal gets a 40-22 win over McMain. Marksville, I believe Marksville is also undefeated. They are 4-0 start the season. They get a win over Port Barry, 40-7 over the Red Devils. Northwest still searching for the first win to start the season. Jennings has season to Iowa, and Jennings has shown that they're a really good football team. 25-7. Donaldsonville has looked really good as well. They shut out East Iberville tonight, 36-0. So big win over there for Coach Darnell Lee and Donaldsonville Tigers. And Caleb Green, who has been getting all kinds of Division I offers right now. He's been wrecking havoc on opposing offenses. So as you can tell, it was against that Donaldsonville defense. Central, they get a 39-21 win over the Cecilia Bulldogs. And, Central, they get a big win. They're still undefeated. They had a tough non-district schedule. You get Cecilia, the defending state champions. Now you have to replace the new coach, and you got for you. But they're still a really good football team. Braylon Calais back there running the football for the Bulldogs. But Central shows why they're going to be the conversation for our state championship once again. But they get an impressive win, 39-21 over the Bulldogs. The 6th win tonight. Man, the Trojans are looking strong. I know the season they had last year was a great season. You're going all the way to the state championship, having an undefeated regular season, but they're continuing to look strong. We talked to Coach Botman last week after a big win over Destrehan, and they're continuing to roll, man. The Trojans maybe just as good as they were last year. It's certainly showing it now. We're about to go up in North Louisiana, but I was over Opelousas. Brazil Bearcats, they 5-14. Moving on, Covenant Christian, I believe I can double check, but 27-19 defeat Archbishop Hannon. For them, big time victory over home Christian, 58-0. Trying to get West St. John. They had a great playoff season a year ago, trying to get back on track in the program, right back on track. It's being right back on track. Woodlawn, they lost to Denham Springs last week, 33-0, but they bounced back, get win number 2 to Tremont Douglas Era with a 34-7 win over West Felicia Panthers, a bounce back win after getting shut out the week before. So good bounce back win. Give a shout out to Marcus Randall and Gridiron Football COO, Chief Operating Officer at Gridiron Football. So give a shout out to Marcus. Give a shout out to Coach TD. Big win, 34-7 over West Felicia. How about Coach Corville? He's still rolling as the head coach over at Terrebonne Catholic, 28-15 over Westgate. District battle right there. And the Rebels to get a win like that, 28-15. Good win in week number 4. Still undefeated, I believe, to start the season. Burlington, they bounced back after a loss last week. Good over West Washita, winning in big time fashion right there for the defending state champion. St. Michael continues their undefeated start to the season with a 35-7. St. Louis Catholic gets a 46-26 win over Washington Marion. Victory over there over the Charging Indians of Washington Marion. Coach Roman talked about this game. He was at that game tonight. Hamilton Christian is a 48-13 win over the St. John Eagles. So 4-0, Dexter Washington and the Warriors, they get another win. Von Vital, man, what can you say about him? Just what a football player he is. Get a big win over East Jefferson, 36-0 shutout there for Coach. And if y'all tune in, if there's a score that y'all would want, we're kind of at the back end. I don't want a repeated make sure to comment in the comment section, and I'll try my best to get to them. Maybe show the comment even on the show if you want to get involved. So Miss Naomi Abear, Miss Abear is one of the biggest fans of the show. We'll make sure to show this. So make sure I got you, Miss Naomi. 25-7. We talked about that game earlier. Jennings gets a 25-7 win. Impressive fashion there over Northwest. Big time win. This really halfway point. It's kind of crazy ever getting to the halfway point. I mean, we're week 5 next week. Man, it's just football season in Louisiana just goes by too fast. But Jennings has really bounced back and has looked really good since the opening loss of the season to Iowa. So big time win, Miss Naomi, for the Jennings Bulldogs. So I appreciate your comment. And that was the big first win of the season. Kind of surprising to me way into this point of the season. But they have played some tough teams, and of course Jennings is one of them. So yeah, if you have any comments, guys, make sure to comment below. I'll make sure to try to get to some scores and to some of your comments as well. A big victory over South Terrebonne for the Tar. There's some players that have been invited to play in the Gridiron football bowl game, so know the talent's really good there. Know the talent's also really good at Slaughter for the Capital Lions tonight. Sam Mall, they still undefeated. They got a little bit of a test right there from a little bit of a push from Scouting 8-14 victory tonight over the Hornets. Talk about Sam Houston gets a 34-14 victory over Sulphur. So a good win there for the Broncos on the Moss Bluff to get a win like that over Sulphur. Good win in the Lake Charles area right there. Sam Houston with a 20-point victory over Sulphur. Back-to-back losses for the Liberty Patriots after a loss last week. I was at that game against Letcher, but they fall tonight 22. And I saw this file earlier. Talk about your defensive battle here. Sacred Heart of Ville Platte gets a 3-0 win. Right, you saw that 38, 3-0. You don't see scores like that around that. Let's see, Riverside Catholic looking really strong to start the season. They did have that loss to Terrebonne, but hey, if you're a smaller school and you lose the Terrebonne program, so 41-0 over St. Thomas Aquinas. Victor, the Battle of the Bulldogs, it was lopsided. It was all Red River. Red River's a really good football team. They won district last year. They get a 40-0 win over the White Castle Bulldogs in dominant fashion. Dutchtown and Prairieville district matchup here. Dutchtown was too much for the Prairieville Hurricanes, winning by a lot as in right there. Pope John Paul gets a 56-7 win over Ben Franklin. So Coach Pigo, a big win there for the Jaguars. Good win there. Where he talked about the St. James game. It's great to have Jawan Johnson back at quarterback. He's a great quarterback, one of the best in the 2028 class. And, get him healthy. St. James Wildcats are right there again to compete for a state championship in dominant fashion against Ponchatoula, 54-0. So that's definitely an eyebrow raiser right there. 54-0 win and beautiful down to a 28-14 win for that's a big win there for Coach Page against a really good Mandeville football team. This Slidell football team has been really good to start the season, have some really impressive wins. And this is a team that struggled a little bit last year, but it seems like they're getting there by the Tigers, showing a 2-touchdown win over Mandeville has been a really good. Watch out for the Tigers, man, in Slidell. They're off to a really good start. Newman, finally, I believe this is the first win in the Coach Aaron Vice get a 48 victory over the Willow School. It took a couple of games, but they played some tough teams. It's his first victory as the head coach for the Newman Greenies. Coach Charles. How about Coach Charles? A 28-21 win over Leesville. Now Leesville, I believe they've only won one game to this. Still really good. They're a deep playoff team last year. Remember, they were a semifinal team last year where they had Xavier Ford in the backfield. But Pineville, 3-1 start. That is a great start, and you're going to need all the wins you can of how tough that district really is. But to me, good win there for Coach Charles, and it shows you that he's going to do right by this program. He's going to get a lot of wins for this program, and that is a great way to start your first tenure as the head coach of Pineville. I know he's a big supporter of A&E and Gridiron football, so congratulations, Coach, on the win Coach Causey does over there at Leesville. How about this statement win? LCA was undefeated, saw this LCA football team against Karen Crow. They are really good, man, and they came up. It just wasn't their night. They were trying to get one defeated, but this was a Shaw football team that was at the state championship last year. I know they're trying to find their footing. There's some guys that are trying to replace from last year's team that led them to that state championship, but you still got a Hall of Fame coach there and Hank Tierney, and they're really well coached. And yeah, I mean, it was their night. I mean, LCA definitely looked like one of the strongest teams out there in the state of Louisiana. But any given Friday, man, you got to be up for it. We're going to talk about another team that was undefeated going into that loss to a respectable football program. You got to be up for it every single Friday night. So, and this was one of those big wins, for the Shaw Eagles to get a win over LCA. Very impressive, a statement win for Coach Tierney, and this could be a type of season that could really, turn for the rest of the year if you are the Shaw Eagles. Gina gets a 52-22 win over when that Gina Buck matchup probably in a couple of weeks, and how big of a game, how big of a matchup that's going to be moving forward. But 3-point win there for the Gina Giants. How about the Plaquemine Green Devils? Ruley was undefeated going into this game. Plaquemine was undefeated. So that West Side rivalry right there. And it was the Plaquemine Green Devils. I truly believe that this team is going to make a run state championship. Definitely. I mean, I really like them. I like Franklin Parish. But Plaquemine, I know they made the semifinals a year ago. They have to replace their backfield and their quarterback and their running back, but their defense is really salty. They got some weapons on offense still, but 20 points. It shows you that, hey, Coach Stewart's got a really good football team. One touchdown, but a good win there. Brother Martin, how about this game? A Brother Martin Jesuit Classic Catholic League football game right here. It's always going to come down to a play or two. I mean, J.D. Curtis, talked to him about how these Catholic League games, I mean, they always come down to about one or two plays. And it seems like this came down to the wire once again. East Royal is one of the top receivers in the 2027 class. And I know he probably had a hand in this football game for the Brother Martin Crusaders. But a big-time win for Coach Bonice and the Crusaders, 31-29 over the Jesuit Blue Jays. So very impressive. Anytime you can win, it's like in the SEC. Anytime you can get a win in the Catholic League, you're going to take it. You're going to take it, and you're going to move on to next week. And that's what Brother Martin did there, 31-29. Congratulations on the Crusaders on getting the job done there. How about Coach Sarah? Y'all seen the big 48 more programs getting better, man, and again, much more improved. And you can see it with the score, obviously, on the scoreboard there. So congratulations to the Buccaneers. That's a statement win, a very impressive win, and a win that they should be proud of. So congratulations to the Buccaneers. That victory, 48-12. Amy gets a 16-14 win. A big win. I talked about East Louisiana earlier. They did early this year. Amy, there was only a matter of time before Coach Powell got everything going right for the Amy Warriors. So that's what they did. They get a 16-14 win over St. Helena. Pine Raiders they shut out Pearl River 28-0. So after getting beat by Franklinton last week in that game against the Demons, so 28-0, great response from the Raiders, from Coach Seal to bounce back after a loss and pick up a win there against Pearl River. Maryville gets a 30-28 win. Slim game for Maryville. Get that victory by 2 points. Patrick Taylor defeats Kenner Discovery 34-26. How about Parkview Baptist? Great win for Coach Ducote to start first signature win over the Marville team. It's some good moments, been kind of up and down to start the season with the new coach as well, and Coach Derek Kramer. But Parkview Baptist wins big, and it's a really good win to really senior coach Devin Ducote, 42-14 over St. Martinville. Washita Christian wins big, 52-0. Looks like that Washita Christian, Coach Fitzhugh, what can you say about them? They had in the bag in a blowout 2-0. East Beauregard gets a 36-25 win over Oberlin. Northside gets a 18-7 win over North Vermilion. How about North Shore? They played really good football this year, but North Shore able to get a 17-10 victory. Congratulations to the Panthers getting that victory. Lake Shore defeats North Lake Christian by a final score of 28-8. Good job by Coach Endessa's squad over there at Lake Shore. Baker gets a 14-6 win over Northeast. So the undefeated season for Northeast, they came in with a 3-0 record. That 14-6. North DeSoto, no. North DeSoto wins big, 52-26 over Northwood of Shreveport. Say winning big as they've been really doing throughout the course the early part of the season, 56-6 over North Central. So impressive win there by the Fighting Blue Jays. And of course, how about that? How about putting points up on the scoreboard? The Parkway Panthers, they get a 69-40 victory over Natchitoches Central, 29-point victory over there for Parkway. They put up some points in the early part of the year. Vanderbilt Catholic gets a 50-20 win over Morgan City. So Vanderbilt Catholic look like they're trying to be in that conversation, man, for a high playoff seeding, and they're starting off on pretty over Morgan City. Minden gets a 51-6 big time victory over Woodlawn of Shreveport in dominant fashion. How about St. Mary's getting a win over Manny? Manny's has been much improved this year. So a big time win over there for St. Mary's to get a victory like that. Logansport, a low scoring one, but they're able to final score for the Logansport Tigers. There. We got Livingston Collegiate with a 23-20 win over George Washington Carver, and you heard Spencer. Lakeside gets a 42-6 win over Northwood Lena. Lake Charles Prep defeats Mansfield 44-22. Lake Arthur gets a win over Oakdale 26-0. Let's see here. Lafayette Renaissance, and they're winning big. They won big again, 40-13 over LB Landry. Used to be Landry Walker. Lafayette Renaissance had to come back and win that football game. Good win for Coach Blunt, and 22-21 over Laranger. Good win. Good program building win there for the Kentwood Kangaroos. Struma wins big, big time score 54-0 over the Terra Trojans. And, blowout fashion right there. So pretty impressive win, 54-0. Iota gets a 62-0 winning big against Homer Pelicans, 31-0 tonight. 6 win over Hahnville, and I believe our guy for Coach Brunk. I believe this is his first. I could be wrong. I'm going to try to look that up, but I believe this is his first win with the Yellow Jackets at Haynes Academy. I'm going to try to see if I can get that, make sure to confirm that. But that would be a big time win for Haynes Academy. So congratulations to Coach Brunk. I know he's been a proud supporter of what we do at Gridiron football. Big time win over Springfield, 35-14. So congratulations to Coach Brunk. 28 win over Houghton. So Coach Simon has had a good start to the season and a good win over a 5A team and Houghton. So big win there. We talked to Coach Tyler Lewis earlier today, in the show. With Terrebonne undefeated, 1-0 in district. That's what Coach Lewis said on the show. But 52-38 over Hunt last week, and Coach Boyne. And this is a really good game. These are two really well-coached teams, talented teams, and this is pretty. It should be it was a really good football game there. 52-38 gives Terrebonne another chance if they can get that win over Destrehan. I mean, I think it's going to set them right, maybe for a district championship once again. HL Bourgeois gets a 47-40 win over the Patterson Lumberjacks. Coach Spatafora gets a win tonight, 30-8 for Union Parish over Green Oaks, over the Green Oaks Giants, 30-8 final score there. Grant's been putting up some points. I mean, we talked about the running backs, Ahmad Sykes getting 10 touchdowns. I believe that was week 1. I mean, that was a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, 76 points, nothing to sneeze at either. 76-40 win over Vidalia. So a big win there. River Oaks gets a 52-28 win over Silver Base in Silver Bay, Mississippi. Bay Springs, we talk about a big game next week between Franklin Parish and Washington. Well, this is what Washington did tonight. 51-6 over Port Gibson. We have Leake Academy 42-3 over Bowling Green. Adams County Christian over Riverfield 14-6. Faraday looking strong to start the season, 50-6 over Delhi Charter. We got the Kinder Yellow Jackets get a 22-20 win over Eunice. We talked to Coach LeBlanc over at Erath. They get a 24-14 win over Vermilion Catholic. If you want to know more about that, then you can go back when the show is done. You go back to the beginning of the show, watch that for coming on the show with us. Destrehan. Speaking of Destrehan, we talk about that Terrebonne matchup with Destrehan next week. They bounce back. Remember, Destrehan lost on the road last week to Alexandria, and Destrehan bounces back in the big way, 50-6. I believe ED White got their first win competition to start the season, 56-0 over Ellender Memorial in a blowout victory. Right, big win there for Coach Parmley and the Dragons over Westlake, 24-20. The Quincy gets a 39-8 win over Lakeview. Like I mentioned, the guys coming in. If you have any comments or any questions or just want a score update, just make at least till about 1 o'clock, and we'll call it a night. We talked to Coach Matherne, starting the show right off. Big victory tonight over Denham Springs, and this when the show is being recorded. Once we go live, you can go back and watch that interview at the very beginning if you want to. St. Charles Catholic gets a 28-6 win over De La Salle. So Coach Stein's group And St. Charles Catholic, I believe they are undefeated. So they're still rolling and looking like the St. Charles Catholic teams we've seen in the previous years. So just kind of ignore last year and kind of throw that out the window. Blackman and hang on to a 13-12 win over Crowley last night. Como was able to do the same thing, 41-38 over Rain. U High, let's just say they were a little mad after last week, after losing to Catholic High, and they took their poor collegiate. They took out their frustrations on the Dolphins. That's for sure. 64 collegiate. Church Point, 41-18 over Mamu. We have 46-6. So Northeast, great over there for the former retired quarterback, as former Ascension Catholic coach. So 46-6 for Coach Northeast and the Tigers over the Central Flukes Trojans. North Iberville, I believe they continue to start their season undefeated, 43-0 over Centerville. So big win for Coach Gavenbrook. For Cedar Creek, good win there for Cedar Creek as well. And we also talked about, we also had Coach on the show to talk about this, Coach Savoie, to talk about this win. So this is another coach we had on, 27-23, St. Thomas More, big win after two losses to start the season. You bounce back with the win. You had a 27-23 win over a Neville team. You beat Neville this week. Yeah, I think St. Thomas More is just fine, as it was clearly pointed out. So they're just fine. And talking about just fine, more than fine is Westminster Christian. 21-28. They're going to be a team to watch in terms of the playoffs. Their team has been getting better and better each year. Stephen George, very talented quarterback. Kyle Horde, very talented running back. And a big win over a district opponent, the defending district champs, the Catholic Point Capee Hornets. So congratulations, Coach Porter. 41-28 win there over Catholic Point Capee. Spencer talked about this game in overtime. It was back and forth with Notre Dame and Catholic New Iberia. Remember, this was really the big win for Catholic New Iberia last year. That kind of really set the tone for really the rest of the season, which was a state championship season. And an overtime win this time, Notre Dame, Coach Louis Cook, and the Pios, they get their revenge. 35-34 in overtime. I know Spencer elaborated to that game and how crazy that game was. And boy, I bet it was a fun game to go and cover. 35-34, huge win for the Pios and get them on track. Talk about probably the biggest shocker of the night. I mean, we talked about Shaw defeating LCA like they did. I think this has to be the biggest shocker. West Monroe defeating Catholic High 27-24. Just because, I mean, talked to Coach Hudson for plenty of times, was at the U High game. There are moments where Catholic looked like, I mean, they looked for just the first couple of weeks. I mean, what they're able to do against Desherhan, and you beat St. Thomas More, then you beat U High, and then like you get all these great wins that for granted, and maybe West Monroe, but no, I mean, still you're coming off a disappointing loss. So Catholic's coming off a big win, a big high. U High, University High, and Baton Rouge. While West Monroe, with the kind of the mental games play, you also North DeSoto. And I think West Monroe really wanted to show what kind of team they really were against Catholic. But that's a huge win. I mean, anytime Catholic High to be in my 3 points, huge win there for Coach Deiser. Trying to put a stamp on the football program. And what better way to put your stamp on the football program by a win like that, to defeat the Cats? A huge win to really set the tone for your football program. And maybe for Catholic, maybe you win these games. Everybody's saying how good you are. I believe there are a lot of West Monroe fans that didn't think that this was going to happen. We'll just kind of be frank, but you got to play the games. You got to be prepared. You got to be mentally ready. And I'm sure Coach Hudson Ford probably said the team it was a close loss. I mean, 27-24. You got the big the drive to go all the way up to Western Row. You got to factor that in. I think Western Row was just hungry after a loss last week, a disappointing loss. The North of Western Row showed it. I mean, best way you possibly can. So congratulations, Coach Deiser and the Rebels. A big win over my alumni, my Catholic High Bears. But congratulations, Coach Deiser. Congratulations to the Rebels. They gets a 45-18 win over General Trask. Calvary Baptist also building off the big win they had last week against Franklin Parish, and they build on that. 37-15 the Arbonne Woods Charter. C.E. Bird defeats John Eric. Gridiron Football Player of the Week this week. Curtis Panthers did lose tonight to the Avoyles Mustangs, 46-14. So there goes the undefeated season for the Buckeye Panthers. They are in the game. Get to 4-0, but good in there for the Avoyles Mustangs. Kaplan gets a bridge tonight. Booker T. Washington gets a squeaker. Like Aaron Dietrich always says over there at KNOE, 42-41 over there for the Lions. We have Memorial getting a 26-13 win over Wick. Ochin, 58-14. Bell Chase gets a 34-6 win over Honorable Chase. I mean, Cruz, I believe they are undefeated. So big win there for Coach Myers and the Cardinals. Junior High, All-American, 63-42. Karen Crow has been pretty fun offensively, I got to admit, to watch. They bounced back after a loss last week to Zachary. So we even their record up at 2-2 in Bears. And how about a good win for Letcher? They win their second in a row after a big win. Start the season against Liberty. They win big time against Assumption, 51-8. Letcher is now 2-2. Sorry, Andy. Your fine Rose Pine Eagles fall tonight to the Ascension Episcopal Blue Gators. Final score 28-6 as the Blue Gators get the win. How about John Curtis? We talk about those Catholic League games. Man, they're close. We talked about Brother Martin beating out Archbishop Rummel 21-19. Rummel's been a great football team. They've had some impressive wins, including in the Superdome against U High. But hey, hard to beat JT Curtis. I mean, there's a reason why he's the winningest coach in America in high school football history. So big win there for John Curtis, 21-19 over Archbishop Rummel. That's how you got to do things in the Catholic League. You know what they do things up in Shreveport? And they score a lot of points. 51 to Houston, the LSU commit. I'm sure he had some gaudy stats tonight, and could potentially be playing against one of his future teammates, Kenny Darby, over there, the LSU wide receiver commit over airline, and 100 combined points between the two. It was Evangel Christian that got the edge tonight. 51 get a win in a game which hopefully you pick the over, because there are a lot of points scored in that football game. Not exactly 57 points, but you get the win. Country Day, remember they lost to Episcopal last week, 66-57. Oh, they scored 49. So we know Country Day can score, and they can score a lot of points. They scored 49 tonight. That was enough to get a 49-36 win over Frederick Douglass. Madison Prep wins big. Madison Prep, strong start to the season with only one loss. But we're kind of going to the Thursday scores here. see. We have Lemoyne. I believe he's already at 1,000 yards rushing to this point, which is unbelievable for 4 games. And I think he scored like 4 touchdowns on 5 carries, something crazy. But he's off to an incredible start this season. Ascension Christian gets a 21-12 Westminster Christian. That's 2 Westminster Christian last week in Opelousas. 54-30 over Richwood. Oak Grove gets a 50-18 win over Rayville on Thursday. LaGrange gets a 60-0 win over Bolton. Vinton gets a 20-16 win over Delcombe. And we have Southern Lab getting a 46-8 win over Del High. Excuse me, there's a lot of scores you got to go through, right? Let's see, Welsh getting a 54-13 win over South Beauregard. Ruston, again, going to Texas, getting a win there, 49-21 over Midland Legacy. The Rebels. Hammond gets a 49-0 win over Higgins. And how about Kadiana? First win in the Coach Doug Dot O and 0-3. They finally get a win over New Iberia. They want to do it. Game win at school. Grand Lake put 62 points on the board over Montgomery. Points given up by the Tigers. We have McDonough 35. Congratulations, Coach Staggs. And the Ron Eagles 21-13 over Sophie Wright. Talk about great quarterbacks, man. Bryce Rusovich, he's been really fun. Went to our ground football camp earlier this year. He threw 5 touchdowns, something like that, in the first half once again. The Flyers have been scoring like 50 points a game. They are really good. And the Flyers are going to playoffs come. Jess Curtis, again, after a big win last week against Mass. You know, he continues that. I guess not bounce back, but he continues that after getting a win over Lafayette tonight, 45-24 over Lafayette Lions. A good win there for Coach Curtis and the Sharks. Jonesboro High, give a shout out to Coach Blank, Coach Blankenship. Proud support of what we do. They get a win tonight over Lincoln Prep, 36-28. Jeanerette gets a 20-6 win over Orville. Port Allen, I believe that's their first win of this over Mentorship Academy. Franklin Parish bounces back after the loss to Calvary. They got another game coming up. That's a big win against Ouachita Parish, 54-6 over Caldwell. This is going to be a game I'm going to go to next week, next Thursday. We'll have coverage of that for GridironFootballUSA.com. I'll see Franklinton and Jules Sumner once again. That's going to be a great game like it was the week before. I'm looking forward to covering that game on Thursday next week. But Franklinton, maybe don't look too far ahead, but I know Fountain Blues got some really good players. You got a really good running back, and Franklinton able to get a win tonight, 41-20. I was at this one on Thursday night. It was all Dunham, 42-7. You can read more about this. You want to go to our website, GridironFootballUSA.com. You can read more about this game. You can watch the highlights about this game, but it was absolutely dominance. The St. Charles Catholic, and they back Elijah Haven, top quarterback in the 2027 class in the state of Louisiana, threw for 6 touchdowns by Haven. Richard Montgomery had 4 receiving touchdowns. The defense was phenomenal in the first half of the couple of goal line stands. Dunham is really good. They were focused from start to finish, and they were motivated to get back on the field after the loss to St. Charles Catholic. I know Elijah Haven was really focused. He threw a couple picks at the game before, but it was a great bounce back game for Elijah Haven for this offense. I mean, you saw Richard Montgomery what he's able to do, but 42-7, Ascension Catholic scored a late touchdown at the very end of that game. So it was all Denham. Didn't really expect it to be the score that game in Ascension Catholic, but still an impressive performance. Coach Neil Weiner gets his 100th victory at Denham. So congratulations, Coach Weiner, on the win. Denham gets a 42-7 win there. Spencer talked about it earlier, but Bucky going undefeated. You know, they're still really strong. The 6 over Central Catholic. So Bucky, they're doing it differently, but they're still really good. Still got this program going in the right direction. A lot of points being scored here in the Shreveport. That's kind of what you expect, right? In the Shreveport area, Captain 8 win over Benton. Benton scored a lot of points this year. Just been on kind of the wrong end on some of these games. I think it's more matter of time before Benton gets the wins for them. Mangum gets a 49-19 win over Beekman Charter. So big win there for the Dragons up there. And Mangum. What else we got? We got St. Frederick, 40 Thursday night too. Good win there. I mean, very impressive for the Warriors. Independence gets a win over Albany, 26-16. Jewel Sumner. Speaking of Jewel Sumner, I'll be seeing them play, or I will be there on Thursday next week. 35-0 over Livonia. Riverdale gets a 55-7. Davidson side Cap is I believe they're undefeated at the start of the season, 20-18. So those are your final scores there for Averson's side Cap getting the win over Fisher. So I believe that is your final scores, your Louisiana High School football slate. Yeah, so those are your JV scores. So yep, that's pretty much all of the scores here tonight. A lot of really interesting takeaways from tonight too. A lot of teams, you know, get upset a little bit. You know, you get a little confident. You're getting a lot of wins. You're getting a lot of victories, and you know, you maybe not at your sharpest, but you know, huge wins for programs that we expect a lot of things for anyway. But still big wins for Archbishop Shaw to get a win over LCA. Definitely really stood out to mine. Obviously, West Monroe getting the win over Catholic, that definitely really stood out there. So big wins there. That really stood out. I mean, anytime you try to bring back the magic, you try to bring back what was so good over there at West Monroe, you're trying to bring that back, and that's what Coach Dyche is trying to do. You know how you do it? You be a team like Catholic High. That is exactly how you do it, and you did it. So some of these teams already playing district opponents, district teams. Kind of getting into that mode right now. It's crazy, guys, that we're already approaching the halfway point of the regular season. It seems like that it was week 1 like last week, and it shows you how much the Louisiana high school football season is really flying by. It really is. I mean, like these games will be over, which kind of makes, you know, more pressure on me because we got the Gridiron Football American Bowl game. Got filled more slots, and we're going to be pretty busy with that the next couple of weeks. We'll have a lot of bowl game announcements on the website at gridironfootballusa.com. A lot of great stuff, man, tonight. Appreciate Spencer Verret for coming on for a good hour just to talk about some of the scores. And, you know, I have much respect for the LHSAA Network, Steve Schneider, and, you know, for their spotlight on high school athletics. So it's always great to get Spencer on. But we're going to try maybe do like a weekly thing, Spencer to come on if he's available. Now, I know he's got other obligations and everything. He's like me. We don't get much sleep. as you can tell, I'm still talking and rambling on as we get close to 1 o'clock in the morning. So you can tell that I don't get much sleep, but you got to enjoy what you do. And I thoroughly enjoy what I do. Appreciate, Andy Bright rewarding every single day. You get the message, you get the theme right about if you wake up wanting to do what you want to do, you're never going to work a day in your life. And that's kind of how I approach it as well. It's really fun to have a job like this and to go and cover these high school teams and promote high school athletes and promote the guys that have worked so hard since all season, since January and February, all the way to the off season, all the way to August. So, and that's what we try to put a spotlight on when these guys have really worked really hard throughout the course. We got a lot of great stuff. I want to try to show our website and what we got going on here. Let's see here. Show our website. There's a lot of great stuff before we go off tonight. But GridironFootballUSA.com. We'll show that off. Showcase the website a little bit. A lot of great stuff. I got my pregame article, which will be first thing in the morning. But yeah, go over and check a lot of this stuff. We got a lot of great content here. We have a Gridiron Football Player of the Week in week 3. We want to start nominations for week 4 for this past week. So make sure to go to the website. You go and read more about Ty Curtis. You can read more about my game recap, one of the games that we covered tonight with Denham and Ascension Catholic. Elijah Haven, his performance. You want to read about that game. You want to see all the highlights. Go check that out. We recruit spotlights. You see the All-American Bowl game commit from last year. We're going to update that, make it 2025 Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game commit. So, yeah, just check our website out. We got all our shows down here. This is just one of the shows in the football show, which is Ballin In Da Boot. But we also do the Chase with Jace, which was our LSU show. We got our Gridiron Football Player of the Week show. And pretty soon, myself and the Andy will be beginning the Going Bowling show, which will profile the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game and some of the updates we got in the Gridiron Football All-American Bowl game. So make sure to check GridironFootballUSA.com as we can find it. We got all kinds of content here, whether it's high school football, college, everything I want to promote before I get off the air too. Place your order for our magazines on GridironFootballUSA.com. We covered all kinds of high schools, including some of the coaches that came on tonight. We covered their schools. So 100 high schools. That's about really a third of the state that were in the magazine. So yeah, make sure to order a magazine. You can find us on Facebook and find us on GridironFootballUSA.com. So check all that out. A lot of great stuff always on our website. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can go back and watch this show after it's recorded every single Friday night. You can go back and watch this show and look at all the scores. Look at all the interviews. We're going to snip all these coaches' interviews. So if you want the show, we'll cut that out and make sure you go and check that out because we appreciate the coaches. I think that's an awesome wrinkle to the show. They can come on and talk about the games right after it happened on Friday night. We've had about, I think it's about a perfect number. I think about four high school coaches per show come on the show. So I think it's a really good number to have these coaches come on. So we appreciate everybody, all the coaches that did come on tonight. And really all of them are within the first really 30, 40 minutes. So I appreciate East Ascension head football coach Brock Matherne. I appreciate St. Thomas More offensive coordinator Shane Savoie coming on the show too. I appreciate Coach Savoie, Coach Matherne. We had Coach Eric LeBlanc as well from Erath. They're 4-0. Coach Tyler Lewis from Terrebonne coming on the show as well. Talk about the Tigers win. A big win for them as well. So four great coaches. Roman Clark coming on, giving an update about his game tonight. again, which was a Hamilton Christian win over St. John in dominant fashion. Of course, Spencer Verret from the LHSAA Network from coming on. We had a loaded show. It was a great show for them to come on. I can't appreciate them enough. Remember, guys, the time fluctuates depending on what game. I called it a Episcopal game tonight. I was making the drive from Jackson at East Louisiana to come back and do the show. So the time always ranges. I know I got another Episcopal game next Friday against the Vermilion Catholic, so I know that off the bat on Friday. So it'll probably be within the range between 10:30 and 11 o'clock. Make sure to keep posted right around 10:30 for your update there at around 10 o'clock. So that way you know what time we'll go on, and we'll continue to do this as we go forward. So another week in the books, week 4, another eventful week of action, Louisiana High School football. So appreciate Spencer Verret for coming on. Also, Coach Tyler Lewis from Terrebonne, Coach Brock Matherne from East Ascension, Coach Shane Savoie for St. Thomas More, Coach Eric LeBlanc at Erath. Guys, have yourself a great night. Enjoy the rest of your football weekend, and make sure to tune in next week, next Friday, same time, same channel, same everything. Gridiron Football. Thank you guys for watching. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your football weekend.